Hey, Flosstube friends, it's Lana, Silly Notion Stitcher here, and here for a regular Flosstube. Um, it is Sunday, March 9th. We're having a really nice day today with lots of sun, and it's over 50 degrees, so I have the window open a little bit. The cat's been able to peek out there a little bit, and he likes to watch the birds. He watches the neighbor cats in the back passing through. He likes to, think he's all strong and scaring them away at times. So I'm going to start with a few prior finishes. Then I have some whips. I have a little bit of haul, and I thought I would talk about some of the retreats I have coming up and just some things going on. So I will start since we're closest to Valentine's Day. I've shown this before. This is a prior finish, one of my favorite finishes I did. This was a Cherry Hill Stitchery freebie design that she gave to all of us. I kind of think it was 2023. It might have been 2022. And I was not intending on stitching anything for Valentine's because I was really trying to tackle some winter stuff, but I just had to do it and had that cute fabric on hand. This was my first time stitching on such a small Aida, so I think that might actually be 22 count or 20 count. That charm I made in a Michelle Ink class a few years ago with Kathleen of Snickerdoodle Stitch. We did the same class down at Salty Yarns, and it was so much fun. You use a clay that has silver particles in it, and you use these different molds. That's like a little teacup. It does have a heart on it. And Michelle will then take your work and she takes it home to a kiln, and then she shipped us the final charms. So I have a few of them. Some Lady Dot Creates Rick Rack on the top there. This is the color Brick. So a different type of red, but I thought it worked really well with that particular design and the colors I used for that. And the red I used Cupid. I'm totally forgetting though if that's a Weeks floss or not. I can't remember now. This is one of my very first fully finishes. 2021, when we were still really not doing a whole lot because of the pandemic, I did a virtual retreat, and Stitching with the Housewives provided some of the little courses in the retreat on finishing. So this was actually like a little kit that came. I dyed the Aida myself, and then the chicken was one of the included charts. So, and then this paddle, I'm pretty sure they sent us this horn book, I guess. This is more of a recent fully finished that I showed not too many episodes ago. So this is Luminous Fiber Arts chart, and I loved the color Watermelon Belle Soie from Classic Colorworks for this. The buttons are from my grandmother's button stash that were stored in a treadle machine that was in our family. And I just sold the treadle machine earlier last year, almost about a year ago now. So just try to make a little more space upstairs. But I love how this turned out. This was actually, it's a tray, It's supposed to be like a little charcuterie tray that I got at a thrift store for about $2 and spray painted. And then I actually set it up so that it's almost like an easel and it rests on the back legs and the front here. So I love how that came out. The it's done on a Lugana, probably 28 count. I also have I just finished these. I made some little Halloween fabric baskets as a table gift for a retreat, and in doing that you cut out squares as you're making the basket. So I had these extra pieces and I thought, well, what can I make out of them? So they're sort of like little bag charms, bag tag charms that I will probably take to another retreat this spring and give out, even though they're Halloween. But I think I'll probably just put like a one of those gourd safety pins on there that people can attach to their bags. All right, so getting into some of my new starts and whips going on right now. In this project bag that I made, I just love this fabric. It's kind of aligns with my Pennsylvania Dutch heritage. This is a Lori Holt bag charm. I have all of my coffee oriented stitches in here, and I have quite a lot, and tea. So there's also a tea project in here. I have loved this chart for a while now, and I think I talked about this in a recent Flosstube. So I did start it on an Aida. I did land on an Aida for this. I believe this is 18 count. And it's Picture This Plus. I am not sure if it's oaken or earthen. Might be one of those. Now, when I look at this picture, I really liked the teals. And I feel like what that's showing there on screen right now is what I see as the pattern. The actual color, though, of the floss, it's a little more mossy looking. So I was a little disappointed with that, but I'm just going to go with it. And maybe when I add the other color, they'll together be a little bit more of that teal that I was hoping for. All right. And this has been really so much fun. Sorry, this is Coffee First by Brenda Gervais. I'm making the big assumption that everybody knows whose chart this is with the needle and thread. Now the called for, they have it on 40 count vintage country mocha. But I was like, no way, no 40 count. But I have a little surprise about this one. Antique Cups and Spoons by Shakespeare's Peddler, and this is part of this series. So I am doing the Teacups. I love teacups. I brought home a teacup and saucer setting from England that I found at definitely an antique store. It wasn't one of the charity stores, but in the Cotswolds in 2019, that I just love. And I'm always so concerned I'm going to break part of it, or because it gets shuffled around in my room. But here is the, is this something? Let's see if this works. So this is so much fun to work on these motifs, and this is a 40 count piece of linen. No, wait, is it 40 count or it's just the fact that it's on linen? This is not 40 count. This is 36 count, but it's on linen, which I don't typically do. And the floss is a dinky dye. I don't know the color though. We were given these sample cards at a retreat, and so the color wasn't on there, but this is the lovely bundle. It's just really nice for this. I did try this color first. It's got some greens in there with pinks, but it just was a little bit too light for this project. I wanted it to be a little bit more bold. So I'm very, very happy with that. And I just love this piece of linen with the greens that are in there. That one piece is kind of like showing up sort of blue. It's just more pronounced. Yeah. So loving that project, and I try to do a little bit every few nights on this to keep this moving. All right. Another set of charts that I have just gotten so excited again about. I keep in this strawberry bag that I purchased at, I think I got this at Stitch New England 2 years ago at that retreat. And I like keeping my flosses in these organza bags if I don't want to put them on floss rings, which I often don't feel like I have the time to do. I just sort of feel like then I can see them, they're protected, and they're not in plastic. The cat always is into anything in cellophane and plastic. So this is Spring Parade set 1 and set 2 by Leela's Studio. And last year at the Needleworks Extravaganza by Needleworks by Jim, I finished this guy. So that's very exciting. I started this egg car. And I am using 2 different Luganas in terms of they're the same color and by the same maker, dyer, but unfortunately one is, I think one's 25 count and one's 24 count. So I am planning on, they give you the option like to do the separate finish, and that's what I'm gonna definitely do. I think I'm going to do something where they're sitting up on blocks so that I can sort of stagger them when I display them. But the other option that my friend Jill is doing is definitely this cute, of course they're in a parade. So she is strategically stitching them in an order that she likes, for the colors and everything, and we'll do this type of finish. So that's very exciting. So my next one that I needed to absolutely start pronto a few weeks ago, I think it was when, I feel like it was a few weeks ago. I think it was last weekend. I know. My friend Jill and I, we worked at QVC, and we both had long tenure there. She had much longer than I did. We were both told very unexpectedly on Fat Tuesday of 2020 that our services were no longer needed, and there were like a few of us let go that day. And then within coming months, many hundreds of other people were let go. But so it wasn't Fat Tuesday. It was like February 26th this year. I'm like, we both need to start one of these. So I decided on the Beat. He is so cute. And, you know, just those different colors of DMC coming together to be the Beat. It's just a lot of fun to stitch this. And so she and I had lunch last weekend, and she was like, we had to have a consult like Brenda and Laura do, as to which one would best suit. She had already started, I think she and I started this one together last year, and she's like, well, I want to line them up, so which one is the next best one color wise and shape wise? So I think she chose the artichoke. I wanted to say arugula and then avocado I also wanted to say, but it's an artichoke. So adorable. So this is a lot of fun. I feel like I'm getting traction on this, that I keep with it, and it's kind of mindless stitching to some extent when the day's been long and my brain cells are no longer available. Also in that same bag is my spring fling that you can see the cat has. It wasn't cellophane, but it was close enough for him. So this is very cute by Brenda Gervais from a bunch of years ago. I think this was from like 2018 or something. 2019. So I am using, I was going to do a bigger count. I found like the week's red pear linen in like 20 count or something, and I was going to do like a big pillow, but something evidently changed and I've started it on this. So this is a Lugana, and I look at this and I think it is probably, the stitches sort of look like a 36 count to me, but maybe it's 32, not quite sure. And I use the called for, I think it's mostly the called for floss, and the white is actually a very yellow, like a yellow ivory to me, and it's called Magnolia Blossom. Of course I had it right here, and now it's slipped away from me. But it's a lot of fun. So I have not worked on this yet this year. I've been trying to keep with the Teacups thing. Here's the 20 count weeks red pear. I thought it was going to look really cool on this. But it's just a lot of stitching, so I think that's kind of what led me to change it up. Not that the stitching has changed. Here's my floss, of course. It's on the floor. So, yeah, so this is Magnolia Blossom, and you can kind of see and compare how sort of yellowish. I'm calling it yellow, but it's definitely like an creamy, buttercream type ivory, so I think it looks really nice. Oops. Yeah. So we are having lovely spring temperatures coming in southeast Pennsylvania this week, so I have a feeling my Easter desires are really going to crop up, and I'm going to be switching to Easter and spring quite a lot. Also in that bag is Rabbits in the Round from JBW Design, so I have not started that one yet, but that will be a spring project at some time. All right. Let me see, did I finish? Trying to see. Oh, okay. This is my Told in a Garden bag. I keep all my Told in a Gardens in here. Patterns, that is, and fabrics I'm intending, because I really have only started one of them. So I've started Strawberries Forever on this Lugana, and I just love it so much. I love this fabric. I believe this is, it's 28 count. I think it's a Picture This Plus Lugana, and it's called like Sea and Sky or Sand and Sky, something like that. Probably Sand and Sky. And so I strategically started the people in the sand area, left the sky up here, because as you move up the fabric, the strawberry fields are up there. So let me see if the chart is handy, because I have so many of them in here. And sometimes I just have my working charts or copies. And not the actual picture close by. Here it is. So if you really want to see a lovely finish, go to an early Brenda and Laura, where Brenda shows her Strawberries Forever. I saw what she did, and I had to have this because I'm really surrounded by a lot of Amish and Mennonite areas, communities, in like this 3-county area that I live in. I'm not terribly far from Lancaster, but they're also in Kutztown, where I went to college, and also communities in Lebanon, and we are right on the edge of that county too. So I keep my flosses on this card right now that I got from Hobby Lobby for that particular chart. It's interesting because, of course, these were all designed by the same maker, and at that same time of early cross stitch. So let's see. Bird in Hand, let's see. So these are by Marilyn Levitt Emblem, if I'm saying that correctly. And I can't really see a copyright without opening this up, but you know, 80s, 90s. And so the DMC colors, she uses a lot of the same colors. I am hoping to, I'm just trying to avoid the glare, but I am hoping to change out, like say for this, the auction, I'd like to brighten up the quilts, a few of them. This big one that they're holding is very common as a traditional style that they are still doing, but maybe adding, you know, maybe a little bit more red in there. But the colors definitely coordinate well, so I don't want to just willy-nilly change things up. But with these charts, like, I wouldn't do the house. I probably wouldn't do the star border at the bottom, just to be able to stitch and not be slowed down by some of the pieces. Bird in Hand is actually a town that I get to on a fairly regular basis, a few times a year. There's a quilt shop in Bird in Hand that a bunch of us love. And so this is, you know, really cool that I can stitch something for a little town that has been a treasure to me, and, you know, hanging out with good quilty friends. What does this say? The Quilting. Love that. I volunteered at the Kutztown, the Kutztown Folk Festival, which is really like celebrating Pennsylvania Dutch heritage, and that is always held in July. It's always held during July 4th week. It's always dreadfully hot, and but the quilts are kept in an air-conditioned building, and there's always a quilt table with Amish and Mennonite and other English volunteers that's what it looks like sitting at the quilt frame quilting. And I did get to help at that this past year, and I was helping like kids and just people coming in that were attending the folk festival. We had our own quilt frame. I would love to have a quilt frame here at home, but it would just take up too much room. So this is Farmer's Market. Many scenes I'm familiar with. And again, I would probably change up some of the colors. And this was a recent find. I might have even found this at a freebie table. Love it. So adorable. And let's see. Oh, this is probably the next one I would do, is this Blueberry Homecoming. And when I was at Keepsake's shop for StitchCon in 2023, they have all the models on display. They're framed and they're up on close to the ceiling at near where you pay. So of course there was a line to pay, and I was happy about that because I'm like, good, I get to like really look at all of these. I'm sure that I took some pictures too, so I should really look those up and print them out and put them in here. So that is Strawberries Forever and Told in a Garden. It's fun because Salty Yarns has a few of these still, so if you really want one of these, I recommend you can probably order it from Salty Yarns. I do see them around, so. Okay. Another start, a very sudden start, was Frosty Tiny Town. I realized I didn't have this chart. I kind of have held back with some of the charts because I have found some of them on freebie tables. So I think I got the Patriotic one that way, and Kathleen got the Christmas one that way. I thought I got the Spring Blossoms that way too. I'm not quite sure. I might have bought that one. But this just arrived in the past week or so, and I just love that A-frame. So I had to start on that end, and I decided to get this gray-white petite petty point. Now I'm trying to figure out the way that... So I got some snow started in this. So this is a 32 count Lagana. And I may skip stitching a lot of the snowflakes. It's funny how I've seen several people, like, I don't really like stitching snowflakes. And I don't either for some reason. I think they're one of those things that I wait till the end, and by the time that I'm at that point, I'm kind of like, I just want this to be finished. So there's a lot of white for the, or smoke for the chimneys. And that I will stitch, but I think I'm going to skip the snowflakes, and I'm just going to let these guys cover the falling snow for me. So, but I saw someone's finish on Instagram recently, and it was pretty much almost exactly like that drum with this luscious wool that she used that sort of tied into that aqua color, more like a teal, and it was perfect. It was awesome. So I think that inspired my start. Okay, and then just a few more whips, and then I have haul. So this takes me into, I don't usually like to talk about current events in my Flosstube because we're here to talk about stitching. But I have this lovely bag. So this was a from like a 12 Days of Christmas box. And so I can use this for Christmas, then it transitioned into Valentine's Day, and now I'm like, oh, well, now I have some patriotic things in here. And I wouldn't normally stitch patriotic things right now, but my heart is being pulled to that. I'm just very troubled, and I'll just leave it at that. But with everything happening, I did find, and thankfully, this Flosstube came up for me, Darlene Dion, and she's Darlene Dion Designs, and she has some of these, like these Quakers that are all following this same dimension, and I loved this one for Canada. She lives in Nova Scotia, and I just feel like I needed to stitch this in solidarity for Canada and our long relationship as two neighboring countries. So I printed this actually on, I found some photography paper, photo paper at a thrift store, and I wanted to try out printing it on this weight because it's kind of nice instead of just paper. Because these were PDF charts. She has an Etsy shop. So that's how I got those. And so I found some white Aida. And this is my work so far. I think it calls for 321, and I had some of that on hand. So I just love that maple leaf too. I was able to go skiing in Canada, and so I have nice memories from that. And another trip, so very excited about working on this. And also now in this box, in this bag is this chart, which I purchased at the Rebel Stitcher retreat. It's by Little Robin Designs. So she had a trunk show there of Little Robin Designs, and I really wanted to start this last weekend, but the reds that I had on hand in my stash, they're both just not right. So this is a 32 count Passione, like Passione or Passion in Italian, I guess, from Grace Notes Fabric. So 32 count Lugana. I'm not sure if I said that. I mean, I do love the color. It's not quite that vibrant in person. It's very cranberry, and you can see the modeling on it. So I'm very tied to how the traditional keep calm sign of World War II era is on this very stable red backdrop. The crown in this chart is actually Smyrna stitches. So I think I'm going to give that a go and do the Smyrna stitches. I do like this, but it's not really how I wanted this to be. I wanted it to really look like this. So the other piece of linen that I had, I bought this fat quarter. I think it's a fat quarter. I don't think it's a fat half. And it was like this. It had a ribbon around it, and I bought it at StitchCon. And I was like pretty okay with that. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I think that's gonna work. Well, then I opened it up, and it's really got this really strange texture to it. I don't know if you can really tell. It almost, if you know the term burnout for t-shirts and knitted tops where threads are sort of burnt out and it creates a design, usually like a paisley or lacy type thing. That's how this feels to me. The way the wrinkles are in this. And definitely this is picking up the coral color. It's more of a dark coral. So it's so funny how, you know, like there's words or phrases and the more you say them, they don't even mean, you know, or sound like what they mean anymore. That's how this was with this color. I'm sitting there with it under the light, and now after a while I was like, well, now it looks orange. Well, now it looks, you know, whatever. So I just had to stop. And I'm like, I'm not going to start this if I don't really think it's going to work. The other thing, too, is that the modeling of this